Anybody who ever rode a high-powered horse, it's a thrill. It's hard to describe.
When you ride these horses, it's like the stuff they're put together with can have this incredible elasticity and like height off the ground.
The evolution of the horse itself, the expectations of the people, the owners are far more than they were 40 years ago.
They need to run so hard and stop so hard, and then they need to turn so fast, and everything needs to be really good, because other than that, they can't perform.
Giving these athletes the best situation possible to get out there and be their best, that's on us.
How can we keep them going at their best?
Prevention is as much as cure.
Your average person probably doesn't see and doesn't realize how much effort and time goes into those horses.
We give them acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, joint injections, spa treatments.
It's a big deal because there's a lot of money added.
Come back the other way. Back up.
How many world records have they broken in the Olympics? Every year, it's another one, it's another one, it's another one.
The animal has to really want to do the job and love the job.
You're running for $1 million, everybody's talking about it. This is the top of the top of the top.
When you're talking Martha Josie, you're talking about a living legend. She impacted barrel racing as nobody else has.
Watch that turn off that second barrel.
I'll tell you one thing, she is an excellent rider.
I think that adversity brings out the best in a person. You can do anything you want to if you want it bad enough.
Medical doctors telling her, you may never walk again. But they didn't know who their patient was. They didn't know it was Martha Josie.
There's so much about the animal-human bond that we don't know.
I've talked to a number of parents where they said that their kid did their first words on a horse. I think there's some reasons for that.
There've been EEG studies done. It's fireworks, right? The entire brain is exploding and lit up.
I can see the difference that it makes in our clients' lives. Hopefully impacts them for the rest of their lives as they develop skills that they'll use for the rest of their lives.
We're gonna get it. 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 We got it! Yay! Nice!
This is the urban area of Hartford, high in crime, high in a lot of violence. You have people that are struggling financially, struggling within their households, struggling trying to raise children. These kids, they could have heard gunshots the night before. They could have seen somebody get robbed in front of them.
We knew we needed to be here because the educational system was lacking, health disparities all over the place, and the kids are caught in the middle. They're at risk from birth to death. But in the interim, we're trying to prepare them with tools that will make it a little easier. And the horses are one of the tools. I grew up about 3 blocks from here. And there was this African-American male organization called the Ebony Horsemen. And this one guy, his name was Puddinhead Merritt. I said, Puddinhead, I want to come to your place and ride. And I started riding again, and this incredible peace came over me. So I started to call my girlfriends to tell them, hey, listen, you need to come out and ride with me. So now we're at Puddinhead's house, riding his 3 horses into the dirt. And I founded Ebony Horse Women on Puddinhead's living room floor. One day, these 2 little boys ran up to us and said, hey, lady, is that a real horse? And I said, yeah, sweetie, where'd you think it was? And I thought, oh my God, I gotta do something about this. So at that point, I changed the organization to focus in on children.
Mrs. Kelly always had this vision, and we've been successfully doing that for over 30 years.
We really didn't know the science behind equine therapy, but we knew there was something. So we really began to focus in on education and therapy and opportunities.
For the after-school program, which is our equine-assisted growth and learning program, we probably have 400 students that come through our facility throughout the year. They're learning horseback riding, animal science, and equine husbandry, which is care of the horse as a whole. We're also an agricultural center, so the students are learning how to grow their own healthy foods, then take it to our kitchen and learn how to make healthy meals. We also have our Saturday Saddle Club, which is also affiliated with 4-H. We have our Young Ladies Leadership Academy and dressage team. They're going through life leadership skills, and they're also learning beginner level dressage.
The Junior Mounted Patrol of Ebony Horsewoman Equestrian Center is an all-boys program that is geared toward minority young men to learn horsemanship, the trails, learn about map reading. It's about building up these young men. Many of them didn't have male figures in their lives that were positive. So me being able to spend at least twice a week with them, that's very vital. At the end of the day, we're about unity. We're about protecting one another and being a positive image for our community.
There are a lot of children in the park who see these young black boys on horses, and it's a whole different perception. It's a whole different perception for even the adults. Like, oh, look at this. The black kids are riding horses. 36 years, we still get that response. Yes, it's black kids riding horses.
We've been taking the youth to the Bill Pickett Rodeo in Maryland, and they are amazed to see so many of their own kind riding horses. Mrs. Kelly actually took a group of girls down to Texas A&M, and some of them are now interested in their veterinary program.
Kids that used to bully each other, pick on each other, they built a brotherhood outside of here. These kids, they have a positive circle to turn to during tough times and during times where they might slip up.
In schools, we have gotten reports that this student that was off the wall is now calming down. You know, they're focusing more. And they're like, well, what are you guys doing? Nothing. We're giving them the time, the attention, the space that they need to better themselves so that they will be better when they approach the world.
It's not a program, it's a herd. And I'm the alpha mare. We're here to make sure that we get you to your best life.
We've seen kids grow up, go off to college because of Miss Kelly's work in terms of connecting them to schools.
It's amazing to see how far some of them have gone. From that rough kid that was always in trouble to now having their own business, becoming veterinarians or nurses. It almost makes me want to cry because it's amazing to see.
We have a lot of our alumni come back to say, I did it, and you can too.
One of our alumni students is Frederick Wright.
Fred graduated from Cornell University's farrieing program. He started to now shoe and trim our horses.
There are generations of youth that Mrs. Kelly has brought through these doors. She's changing the lives of the people in Hartford as a whole.
Aliana's been here since she was like 8. So it's been over 10 years. These horses mean the world to my daughter. She participates in the therapeutic part of it. My daughter has very emotional needs, so I think it helps her a lot. I'm a single mom of 3, and having this whole team that's here as her second family is extremely helpful. Being able to walk into a location like this with people who are highly skilled, have degrees, knowledge, not only about horses, but about children is really a lifeline.
I'm retired and raising my 2 grandkids. They don't have a female at home on a regular basis, so being around Miss Kelly and Dominique teaches them how to be a young lady. They really go out of their way to make sure that these kids are well taken care of, have a lot to do, and keep them occupied. My grandkids, they've been here for about 6 years now, and they've grown a lot. They matured a lot here. Once they learn how to master riding a horse, I think it helps them with their confidence. I also help them with teamwork because they have to get together as a team and make sure that all the horses are taken care of.
A lot of people think that when you have a horse, it's just about throwing a saddle on them and riding. No, it's not. It's seeing how they're feeling mentally. How's their attitude? They'll let you know when they're having a bad morning. We really do respect that. It's how we treat our kids.
Brushing a horse a lot of times, calms the person to be able to express themselves better. It's all rewiring the brain in the way that working with the horse is helping heal that person.
With equine-assisted therapy and psychotherapy, there's no real need to talk. The horse begins to mirror what goes on inside you. And if there's someone there to guide you, therapists, to show you what that mirroring is, it's information. Horses are so sensitive, their safety mechanism gives them the ability to measure energy levels. And so when a child presents with agitation, anxiety, anger, the horse is like, I don't think we can do business right now. So they begin to learn how to bring that down and to work with this horse. Equine therapy is beginning to understand themselves, what triggers you, and how can we give you tools to manage that. We can't change their life circumstances, but we can change how they respond to it.
We're just trying to figure out how to keep our jobs, put food on the table, keep our kids safe, how to navigate systems that often your first try end up shutting the door in your face. And so I probably would have just thrown my hands up in the air, but I'm able to fight because they fight for me.
With 4 people taking care of 15 horses and 4 different types of programs, it gets tiring. But no matter how much time we put in here, we still wake up excited to come take care of horses at 5:30 in the morning. And that's how we're able to succeed.
We are a full nonprofit. And a lot of times, the students that we have come here don't pay anything because they need it that much.
And we cannot push parents to pay because if you do that, they pull the kid. And that's the mission. We keep doing what we do because it's paying off.
They come here bottled up with anger, and then we tell them, talk to your horse. They come back either happy, smiling, shocked that, wow, this horse really calmed me down.
My lifelong dream is to make sure that this is there for like a lot of generations to come.
Let's ride, boys. Good job, Jay. Good job, Jamali. JP, walk on.
The Intercollegiate Horse Show Association is a group of colleges. We have approximately 400 with 10,000 students, and our only main criteria is that any college student that has a desire to ride a horse has the opportunity to do so. We try to eliminate any gender equities or financial equities. We try to make it as affordable as possible so all college students, from walk-trot beginner riders to open riders, have a chance to ride in college on a team.
I had been around horses and I always liked riding, but we didn't own a horse or have access to horse shows or things like that. When you went through that door, there were horses and people with like interests and mentors that were eager to give you opportunities.
You don't have to own a horse. You don't have to own any of the tack or equipment. Horses are provided for the riders. I think it's a good chance for everybody to learn sportsmanship, how to win and lose gracefully, how to put your heart into something, work at something, and accept the outcome at the end of the day. I think that prepares you for life in a lot of areas.
This group of people, your IHSA team, is there on the sidelines. They're cheering you on. They're walking courses with you. They're helping polish boots. They're making sure your stirrups are right, you know, and they're there. They're always there.
On a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, we are working with people to help them succeed in, you know, not just the horse world, but as coaches, we're hoping and helping them succeed as individuals and become successful, helpful people to others.
I had no idea really what Pony Club was about. Until you're in it, you don't really know.
My mother needed a way to keep me, shall we say, entertained.
All you're thinking about is horses. It's almost an obsession.
If that's where the horses are at, that's where I'm gonna be.
They do notice the people, but they notice the horses first.
When she found her friends in Pony Club and found a lot of self-confidence, no one was able to touch her.
I see with my own eyes the development of young leaders to come out of this organization. They get stuff done and they give back to the community.
It's the skills, the confidence that they build for what they need in their lives, and that's what's important to us.
Well, I do this because this is who I am. I am Clark Kent currently. When I put my show clothes on, I am Super Julia.
As Marines and soldiers or airmen, you're focused on the mission. They give their country their all, and they come home, and they just seem lost.
Most of us struggle with depression, PTSD, anxiety.
I lost two things I'd really worked hard for all my life, almost simultaneously. It got so bad that I almost committed suicide at that point.
You gotta build the spirit first before anything else comes together.
We all need a mission, all of us. We get together as a team and we move cattle. And you build a team and you get the bond back that you had when you were in the service.
I go out here and I'm riding up and down these huge hills and mountains that I never thought that I would ever do.
You gotta have your mind right when you get on top of a horse. If your mind's not right, that horse is gonna know it.
If you're tense, they get tense. If you're scared, they're gonna be scared.
When you're in the military, they broke you down individually and built you back up as a group. It's kind of the same way here, the second day, you feel like you've been in this group for several years.
If you can do a week up here, you can pretty much do anything you put your mind to.
Mane & Tail's new Ultimate Gloss Shampoo and Conditioner will make your horse's coat, mane, and tail shine like never before. Developed with groundbreaking technology that you can see and feel. And best of all, these products can help keep your horse's skin healthier too. This is because, unlike other products on the market today, the Ultimate Gloss Shampoo gets down to the skin to clean and remove dirt, debris, and dander. The rich lather easily rinses, getting rid of the toughest dirt and stains. You can actually see the dirt and dander rolling off of your horse as you clean them. The system is a great way to add that extra ultra luster like no other. The results are silky, shimmering, and incredibly soft, which lends itself to your other four-legged friends too. Ultimate Gloss Shampoo and Conditioner has conditioning ingredients like avocado oil, coconut oil, and many other proteins and vitamins. The gentle pH balanced formula is safe to use every day. In fact, the more you use the Ultimate Gloss system, the better cleaning and conditioning you'll see. Especially after your horse rolls, just brush that dust right off. Even though Ultimate Gloss provides such a high shine, there's no greasy residue, making it saddle safe and allowing you to ride with confidence knowing your saddle will never slip. This revolutionary product is incredibly easy to use with lightning-fast results and a deep-down clean. For more information on Mane and Tail's Ultimate Gloss Shampoo and Ultimate Gloss Conditioner, go to maneandtailequine.com.
And when you're ready, we're gonna have a canter, and I want you to think that same feel we talked about up into trot. You're just gonna release the inside hip up into the canter a little bit, and you're gonna be ready for him to maybe wobble on the rein. Now forward. There you go. That's good. Shorten the reins a little bit. I think with this horse, you wanna have shorter reins than you feel like you should. Because the minute he gets slightly long in the rein, it's very easy for him to bear down on you. That's really good. Good. And then you're going to prepare for a trot transition, but positioning his body just like we did into the walk. And you're going to be squeezing the reins and put the leg on. Well done. Very good. And then you're going to, in the next corner, up to canter again. This time think picking up medium canter a little bit is your thought process. Yeah, that was better. So much better. I think you nearly want to think that in his transitions, because at this level especially, they want them very forward. That's good. That's good, very good. Make that circle a little bit smaller, shorten the reins again. Maybe get yourself, do you have stoppers on those reins? No, but I should. Oh yeah, get yourself some reins with stoppers. Because then if it's really hot or something, you won't end up like slipping back, because he does tempt you into that. That's super. I'll tell you a company where you can order some out of England. They're amazing and they're cheap. Yeah, we'll tell you that when we finish. That's lovely. Good boy. And then a little bit bigger canter on the open side. And make sure that when you ask him for that bigger canter, you're allowing through the seat and you're squeezing with the leg. Let the nose come out. There, good. And now you close it a little bit. Think about that positioning feel again. Closing, but keep the lower leg. Keep the lower leg. Push him a little sideways positioning. I know it's hard for him, it's fine. You can open the inside hand if you need to and close him a tiny bit more. Stay tall, lower leg, well done. Good boy. Little pat with the inside hand. Good lad. That's good. Super. That's okay. Just help him with the leg, squeezing reins. And every time he goes to struggle, you're just gonna think vibrating your fingers on the reins and keeping the leg. That's amazing. Super. And then open the canter a little bit again. So he can't hold it that long. Yeah, and keep squeezing the rein so he doesn't tip his nose. Very good. And now we're going to close it a little bit again. And really think hugging with the leg, squeezing on the reins, and that positioning feel. Even thinking like the tiniest bit travers, that's super. Good boy. And really hug the leg again. See if you can get one more little step behind. And squeezing reins, help him. Well done. Good boy. Very good. And then back to your normal positive canter. Just normal, lovely working canter now. Shorten the reins again. No, it's fine. We're gonna get you some new reins and you're gonna be set. Very good. Right, and go down the school. And really keep your leg around him, sitting super tall. That's it. This is lovely. Good, and a circle down at that end. Shorten the reins again. Stretching taller in your body. Drop the shoulders behind you and hold your core and hug with the leg. There. That's super. Very good. And in the next corner, you're gonna find your trot and you're gonna prepare and you're gonna position his body just like we did and you're gonna think forwards to trot. That's fine. He fell down a little bit there, so we'll just do that one more time. And think about, just like we did from the trot to the walk, that you just gotta push his body sideways a little bit more all the way through that transition. So you're thinking the bend stays around the inside leg. Softening. So you're gonna think to yourself a little bit more inside leg, softening through the reins, but you're keeping the bend around your leg all the way into the transition. So we must bring the hind leg through. Well done. Let's do that one more time. It's gonna come now. It's hard for him. You can feel he's trying to push his body the other way. This is a great trot now. Super. Beautiful. Okay, and if he's not going off your leg, don't ever be afraid to just thump him one. Like if he doesn't go off your leg, he needs to learn. And if he then gallops off, it doesn't matter. And then we repeat it. But he must listen to your leg, and the aids need to be soft. You shouldn't have to work too hard. That's fine, exactly. Okay, that's fine. Now you find your trot again. And then you're gonna release your inside hip and hug with the legs again for the canter, and if he goes forward, then you praise him. Good boy. And now put him round, rounder, shorten the reins. That's good, that's good. And then you're gonna really focus on that positioning, softening through the rein. Keep the leg, keep softening, keep softening. And when you're ready, you find your trot. Really hold your core, stay tall. Better, much better. Let's freshen him up a little, go around the arena, and we're just gonna open that trot a little bit towards your lengthening. So think shorten the reins again. And you're gonna really hug with your calf muscle. That's how we get it. And you're just gonna stay on the outside of the arena. Keep the bend here so he doesn't drop into his shoulders. And then as you come through the turn, you're gonna push more. Be brave. Hold the rein, keep your thigh holding him a little, and push a little more. It's okay, correct it back. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's okay. That's good boy. There you go. A little bit of balance through the turn. Don't let him canter. A little bit rounder, rounder, rounder. Rounder. Hold the rein a little more. And hold your core and pull your shoulders back more. And now squeeze. But don't release the rein. Keep the feel. That's better. And the next long side. It's really important your reins are short enough and you keep a feel so you give him something to push into. So pull your shoulders back more and now push. And keep the feel, don't release the rein. Whoop, there you go, well corrected. And a little more, nope, whoop. There, tell him he's good. Took a step there. And one more. And cluck to him a little if you need to. Think about rising a little higher and faster. There you go, that's it. There. That's coming. That's better. So sometimes that helps if you just think rise a bit higher or a little quicker. It actually just helps them that little bit more. So think about that feel. Yes, praise him. Ah, good boy. Much better. Good. And now you're going to bring him back to a normal trot. Super. Positioning the body, find the bend again because he's pushing through that inside shoulder. There you go, well done. I know it's hard for him on this rein. And find yourself on a circle, and then we're gonna position the body and we're gonna find a walk. We're gonna let him rest and then we're gonna go into the left. Positioning. Gonna be really diligent through this transition. Must be good. It's okay, doesn't matter if he struggles. Oh, good boy. Long rein and make much of him. What a good boy. That was a super transition. He's like, I'm really tired. You only have to canter on the other rein, buddy. Very good. So that, I think with your medium trot, just think that rising higher, because I think sometimes it happens you're squeezing him, but you get a bit tight. And then he's like, oh, I should canter. And he will start to get it. And then what I would do is when you get that really good one down the long side, and he starts to understand, then don't get greedy. You know, at his age. It'd be different if he was 7. But then you just go, okay, now we're understanding. And make it like a fun thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a freshen up in your work. You're like, oh, we've worked hard. Now let's go and be bigger. You know, and then you praise him. And I think he'll start to understand it. He says he's a little cooked. But we're gonna make the quality walk again. We'll stay on a circle. Keep it easy for him. So straight away, legs around him, hugging with the calf. Position his body if he struggles to be round, and squeezing on the reins. There you go. A little bit more leg, a little bit more bend. There it is, super. So anytime he comes out and he goes a bit, and gets tight, just position his body and bend him around your leg again. Best way to get it with young horses, to put their body in the right place. Good boy. That's super. So you're gonna make your best trot transition, again thinking release the hips, thinking trot with your seat, and positive and forward. Very good. That's a lot better. What a good boy. You're gonna find your nice positive trot, And then you're gonna choose one of the corners where you're gonna canter by positioning the body again, just like we talked about, releasing the inside hip, and think into medium canter is your thought process so that we get the forward. It's fine, doesn't matter. It's more important that you find the transition in the right moment so that the education is there. That's beautiful. Okay, it wasn't bad. He was just a little slow off the aid, so it's fine. We're just going to repeat it. So you're going to find your best trot transition. Again, positioning the body, thinking always about the quality. That was okay. And this time, if you need to use a little more leg, then do. I know he's a little tired, but he still has to respond. Very good. Much better. And then praise him. Remember, you always say, what a good boy. Can every once in a while, a little scratch just like that with the inside hand. And now a little rounder and a little bit more leg because he's a little tired. A little rounder, squeezing on the reins and adding more leg. So always think to yourself that you're adjusting him within a feel. That's a good thing to think about, like that. So a lot of people think, especially in this country, that they should be light and fluffy in the dressage, and that's actually not a thing. There's no good dressage horse on the planet that has no contact. Yeah, I like to have something in the hands. Now this is lovely now because you've got something there and then he's solid in the contact. It's beautiful. Right, so build that canter a little bit bigger. Relax your thigh, stretch taller, and add more leg for the quality canter. Don't tighten your thigh. There you go. There it is. That's better. Good boy. And then we're going to close him a little bit, but really hugging with the leg because he's tired, and you're going to keep squeezing the rein, keep adding leg, keep softening the reins. And by softening, I still mean within a feel. Just like keeping a bit of play in your fingers. Good. And now close it a little more. Really stretching tall as you do that and closing the leg. Keep touch, touch, touch. Close a little more. Oh, good boy. Good. Super. And then we're going to open it a little bit, softening on the reins. Say, come on, boy, you're tired, but we can do it. A little bigger, little bigger, little bigger. That's good. Good boy. And then we're going to close it again. Think lifting the front end upwards is your thought process from the leg. Tall in your body, squeezing rein, more leg, and a little bit more. Bring him back more. Help him in the bridle a little bit. Soften, soften. Well done. Well done. Add a little more leg. It's okay. He's nearly done. It's okay. It's okay to struggle. Soften, soften. Yeah, now praise him. And now close him a tiny bit more. That's okay. Just find the canter again. Good boy. We're just going to try and get one step where he really brings his hocks under. And you're going to have to help him with your leg. Keep that bend. Keep the positioning. Yeah. Good. Good boy. Tell him he's a good boy. Beautiful. And then we're going to find your best working canter. Stretch down through the heels. Keep the legs around him. There you go. And then in your time, you're going to find your best trot. And you're going to think leg on and helping him by keeping him around. That's fine. That was actually quite good for where he's at because he's tired. Very good. Find your best trot. This is super. I wouldn't want it any quicker in the ring, just so you know.
Right, yeah.
The rhythm is good. He's just tired. And then let's go ahead and find a stretching trot. So easing the reins down. And keep, as you're letting the reins out, keep playing your fingers on the rein a little to say, come on, stretch down and out, so that you teach him. That's it, and tell him he's good. It's very much something you have to teach most horses a little bit. That's super. What a good boy. That's great. This is an 8 for me. Absolutely. And make sure you don't totally throw the reins away. What they want to see for that movement is that the horse takes the rein down and it follows your hand, allowing them down. That's it, exactly. And then let's just pick the reins up again, just because it's good to practice this. And think as you pick the reins up, you may need to add a little more leg because he'll want to lean on you. Yes, exactly. Beautiful. That's okay, correct him. And once he's in a nice place and he's doing what you want,
Good boy.
there you go. Then you're going to find your best walk. Take your time, make it good. Oh, good boy. I think that's enough for him. He's pretty pooped. What a good boy. So that's one thing, just keep working on that little bit into the walk, because he did, again, a beautiful transition, and about a stride and a half later, he bobbed his head. And that's just where he is. So you've got to work that in the ring and be a little bit clever in your ring craft to go, here's a transition, now stay here. You know, you got to say, no, no, boy. And just be ready for that, because he does that in most of his transitions, up and down. So you've just got to be a little clever to be, hey, hey, little squeeze, squeeze on the reins.
Taking the best care of your horse, your friend, your companion is an important part of competitive riding. Making sure they look their best will give both of you the confidence to perform your best. It's here that all of the hard work and dedication to your sport come together. Mane & Tail has been a trusted and true name in grooming products for 50 years. Many groomers have found our Protect line helps treat and prevent skin issues for their horses. Our newest edition, Ultimate Gloss Shampoo and Conditioner, continues the mane and tail tradition and gets your horse's coat, mane, and tail the shiniest, silkiest, and glossiest they've ever been. Stun the crowd with glowing results and know you've done your best, the mane and tail way.
I've done some other things in my life, but I always keep coming back to cowboying.
Well, the first time I come out to this country, I knew this is where I'd be.
There's, I think, thousands of kids that would love to be up here just getting to be a part of this. I just want to keep going. I don't want to quit.
It's something you never conquer because every situation's different. You don't know what them cows are going to do.
It's a challenge, I tell you. The weather, the drought. It's been in the family for 6 generations. We just want to keep it going, keep it together.
I put 28 years of my life into this ranch. It would break my heart to see anything happen to it.
This is a way of life more than a job.
You walk in and it just smells like leather.
You could be looking back at almost a time capsule and watching these guys make these fine products.
100% working by hand is better than anything else.
You still have a culture that recognizes the value of the Western lifestyle.
There's a little bit of everybody that works here's soul goes into that boot. And when you get it, you feel it.
We don't strive to be the world's most renowned, but after 100 years, you kind of become that.
And the American cowboy ain't hurting down here at all.
Texas history is cowboy history.
Cattle business boomed here for decades.
Cattle coming and going 24 hours a day. This became known as Wall Street of the West.
Texas is one of the few places you can come and still see a real cowboy.
For a lot of people, it's literally their first rodeo.
Our main goal in the Fort Worth Stockyards is to keep things real, keep them authentic.
You know, it's often said that Fort Worth just wouldn't be what it is without cattle. But your true cattlemen are going to tell you, no, the cattle industry wouldn't be what it is today without Fort Worth.
Anybody who ever rode a high-powered horse, it's a thrill. It's hard to describe. This is the top of the top of the top.
She is an incredible athlete. If she were a person, you'd see me and be like, well, that's not fair. You can just run that fast and do that naturally and on your own, and I have to try 10 times harder.
Dressage horses actually have to be incredibly fit. The strength of a long distance runner combined with a bit like a weightlifter, and then to do it with the grace of a dancer.
They need to run so hard and stop so hard, and then they need to turn so fast, and then they need to circling so fast and slow down. Everything needs to be really good, because other than that, they can't perform.
At the highest level requires a very quick-thinking, smart horse. The animal has to really want to do the job and love the job.
Horses are fragile. There's a big value in these horses, and you have to look at longevity.
Giving these athletes the best situation possible to get out there and be their best, that's on us.
Instead of it's just a lame horse, fix it. Now veterinarians think differently about sports medicine. These are equine athletes. How can we keep them going at their best? It's changed a lot.
And a lot of times for these elite horses, prevention is as much as cure. The healthier you keep them, the less you have to fix.
A lot goes in behind the scene. Your average person probably doesn't see and doesn't realize how much effort and time goes into those horses.
We give them acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, joint injections, spa treatments. They all get better treatment than I do.
And it goes from grooms to assistant grooms to assistant trainers, and the trainers multiple farriers. And it's just got a mass of people that work in just one barn on those horses.
It's a big deal because there's a lot of money at it.
I think everybody competing here is enough of a horseman who can see if a horse cannot handle the mental pressure, they would back off. And I did it before. I paid a lot of money for a horse and I had to tell the clients, I'm sorry, it's not good enough. You're running for $1 million. Everybody's talking about it. This is pretty cool to be part of that.
All of these athletes are celebrated by every person that gets out there because it's not easy to get to this level. She leaves it out there every time, every time.
When I was in vet school, the horse always intrigued me, and it's an animal that I like to work with. I enjoyed it. Even in the late 70s and early 80s, a lot of them were performance animals, and so there was sports medicine aspects to it. And we didn't really identify it back then as sports medicine, but as the performance horse came up, they started to care about and want to know more about sports medicine. The overall picture is one that it was challenging and it's constantly developing. As the sport horse disciplines have gotten bigger, we know that there's certain injuries that are predisposed by a certain type of work. So a reiner or a cutting horse doesn't get the same injuries that a 3-day event horse or a jumper gets, or a dressage horse, etc. But the one thing that transcends all of the disciplines and makes them into one is that we have so many more modalities now to treat the problems and actually make them better, as opposed to treat them to just quiet them down so that they get worse more slowly. Where we are today with sport horses and where we were 40 years ago with sport horses is a huge gap. The average lifespan when I got out of school of a typical horse would be 15 to 17 years old. And now we've got performance horses that are in their 20s that are showing. Now we have things that are not detrimental to the animals, the horses especially in competition, that prolongs and extends their ability to perform to their maximum. And there's a tremendous amount of veterinarians well-schooled in sports medicine, rehabilitation, all the aspects it takes to keep a performance horse going. Breeding has been the cornerstone of the thoroughbred industry for years. Breeding a performance horse has a lot to do with pedigree. I mean, there's no question. We know that certain stallions crossed with certain mares in general give you a cross that's going to be made to be a better performer. And I have friends that'll, they'll rattle off to you the sire of the dam going back 3 generations, And I'm going, wow, you lost me about the second one. But those things are the thing you get to start with, and then it's the eye and what happens to that foal as it grows. And so now we find much more advancing of the disciplines and finding the performances so much higher because they are breeding and following the horses that perform, and that's the stuff that's exciting.
The performance horse industry has gotten where bloodlines have been more and more a factor in increasing the odds or the percentages of raising a horse that can compete and win. It's a very complicated process to raise a horse to perform at a high level. It starts with making sure you have the right mating at breeding, then raising a foal that has all the conformation traits and the trainability traits that we need to have. Some people, when they breed performance to performance. So with no regard to conformation or mind or anything, they just breed champion to champion. I mean, you want to breed to the best stud or the best mare that's available, but I like to take into consideration as well conformation and disposition. If I've got a mare that's a little hot, I like to think I'm going to try to breed a little better mind on the foal and breed it to a stud that's known to have foals with good dispositions, or vice versa. If you get a mare that's a little docile, you breed to a stud that maybe foals are a little more animated.
Early on in my career in Texas, my job that I cultivated wasn't really being done a lot in Texas at the time, and that was an application of a full-time hands-on broodmare operation, so that your valuable mare could come into my hands and you could trust that they were going to be treated as if they were mine, because her health, her frame of mind, her ability to handle her is all going to impact that foal when it arrives. I would say the last 25 years, that's become a more thought about process. How you take care of those mares is your starting ground for what that foal could be later on in his show career. He must be healthy in utero to be healthy when born, must be cared for and be healthy during his time on his mother's side, going on into the yearling year until you finally hand that foal over to the trainer as a 2-year-old to begin their process.
Danny and I own a stallion called CD Lights. He was sired by CD Olina, the horse I won the 94 NCHA Futurity on, and the 95 NCHA Derby, and he was also the 1995 NCHA Horse of the Year. CD Lights himself had a very good show career. He won right in around $250,000, and then he's went on to sire foals that have won right in and around almost $6 million. The CD Lights onto the Shining Spark mares was the #1 cross in the rein cow horse industry. What CD Lights provided in that cross was he had a great mind, and he threw a great mind on his colts.
Well, this horse is bred to be a cow horse, but he's still built like we'd want a cutting horse or really any performance horse to be.
You know, he's got a good head and a good eye on him. You know, good eye normally is indicative of a horse that should be, for the most part, easier to train, better minded. He's got the balance we're talking about. His neck is proportional from here to here, is proportional to here to the length of his hip. So he's built to do the job. The unique thing about a cutting horse is, and the part that makes my job at training cutting horses enjoyable, is we encourage a horse to think and anticipate the cow. She's stopping on her own. She's thinking about that cow. She just really doesn't know what to do with it all the time. There you go. The more they think and the more they anticipate, the better that horse gets to be as far as a performer. And there's very few Western disciplines that encourage that, because it just doesn't factor into performing at a high level to let those horses think and anticipate. And that's what I think I like most about the cutting horse industry. I think we have a very unique horse. The horses really like what they do.
Training is a very important part of getting to a goal. There's a lot of trainers, and each one has different training techniques to get the horse to do whatever discipline it is. We have a lot more tools to help train the horse and have them not have setbacks, but know that they are actually trained adequately to meet the level that they need to be. So we build up the stamina as well as the speed parts.
I like that. That's great. You don't want to see it moving up too much with him, else he's going to get too strong on you.
There's been a ton of information that started 15 years ago with conditioning the horse. People didn't know what conditioning a horse was. You know, you go out and ride them and put them away and you go. But now there's a tremendous amount of science that shows us how do we train our horse to be, you know, an elite athlete or an athlete that's performing, that's fit enough to maybe not get hurt. A structured program in any athletic endeavor is critical to the end result.
I'm a 3-day event rider, which is often referred to as a triathlon of equestrian sports. My first phase is dressage. And the second phase, our most exciting phase, is the cross country. And the third phase is show jumping. One entry is per horse. So one horse will do dressage, cross country, and show jumping, and the combined score is my final result. In my barn, I have a whole range of horses that have their specialties, and I oftentimes wish I could use this one for dressage and that one for cross country and that one for show jumping, but that's not the reality. Each horse has to perform all 3 phases. My horses have to be very fit, strong, but also very flexible. So the whole week we develop their muscles and develop their endurance. Most of our day-to-day training is dressage. And that doesn't mean I'm in a rectangle practicing movements. It's just the communication and base work. And that's also when I'm my horse's physical therapist. That's when I'm putting on, you know, equal strength and flexibility and really listening to them and building a language. We do start training our horses and producing them at a young age. You do see them eventing and competing as 4-year-olds. That's the youngest age they can compete in eventing. But 13 years old is actually still a nice young age for the highest levels of the sport, because it takes so long to put in the required training. That's why I think there's this added pressure to make sure these animals are kept their healthiest, soundest throughout their career, because it takes a long time to get them to the top. we'll tailor programs to horses' individual needs and just keep them at their happiest. The biggest thing is we really just need to listen to them, and that's what I feel like my team of people around my horses, we really listen to them, and that's our responsibility. My typical week with my horses, they're competing on the weekend, they might get a Monday off, and then they have a really nice long trail ride, stretchy day. They do a couple days a week of flat work, a day of jumping, and 1 or 2 days of fitness. So the cross country is really the heart of our sport. I think that's why all eventers do this sport. If you didn't love cross country, you'd probably be doing a pure discipline like dressage or show jumping. It requires a lot of fitness. We're at high speeds over solid obstacles, galloping through water, over ditches, terrain. It takes a super athlete of a horse to do this sport. It's just so fun. I grew up pony clubbing and fox hunting and eventing and doing a little bit of everything, and I was always a kid that loved going fast, and I love galloping through water. It's really fun jumping in and out of water, and the horses love it. They absolutely love it. The bond between horse and rider is incredibly important. The communication and trust between horse and rider is huge. When I talk about how much I love the day-to-day training, but it's just the day-to-day language building with the animal is so intriguing to me. The highest level of any equestrian sport, the animal has to really want to do the job and love the job. You can't make them want to do it at the highest level. They also have to be that quarterback that can take a licking and keep on kicking, It was really important to me to see my sport evolve into something even better. It's always been an amazing sport, but how can we make it safer for the horses and riders? So I'm really excited about what I've seen and how the sport has evolved. It's everywhere from frangible technology to course design to helmet design, air vest design for the riders, and everything to make it just safer. I think that's important.
We've been asking things of horses for a long time. What's new is we keep asking them to go higher and higher within the sport. My father educated me, and he told me, he says, Kent, you will have some of the most incredible tools as you go on into your practice, and I have. I've had amazing diagnostic imaging tools. But he said the most important thing you will still ever have is your mind, your hands, your eyes, and your hoof testers, and not in that order. And he was right. No matter how technologically we are on the imaging end of it, the physical exam is still the important part. The hoof testers are still some of the most important tools I ever wheeled. When I started with 3-day eventing horses 35 years ago, you would go through some horses with a lot of soft tissue injuries that would drop out over time. Now we don't drop many of those out, and we keep their joints in better shape than we did back then. We've got a lot better tools to do it, and we're smarter about what the horse needs from both a physical, nutritional, and a mental standpoint to keep it going without frying it in the process. In our practice, we're all either horsemen or horsewomen, and we start with that and our love of horses, and then we develop it into what we can do to help the horse, and then what we can do to support the equine athlete, and then we all chase it down in our various disciplines. I'm having the opportunity to look at some very interesting cases here in the clinic, use top-of-the-line imaging equipment, delve into questions I never thought I could delve into as a young veterinarian. But you've got to have the love for the horse to make any of that be worthwhile or last as long as it has for me. The future of equine veterinary medicine, in particular with equine sports medicine and the upper athlete, is an area that is going to continue to grow. It's changed a lot because now it's teaching veterinarians to think differently about sports medicine instead of it's just a lame horse, fix it, to these are equine athletes, how can we keep them going at their best for years? There's a lot of cool things coming. There's ways to help the equine athlete know how fit they are, keep them sounder. We're going to see even more imaging breakthroughs. You know, digital radiography was the first, and it's not going to be the last. We're going to see standing CT, MRI. You know, the first time I ever heard a human doc tell me, oh, well, you know, you can take some of these medications and put them in horses' joints. You can turn back the clock on those joints. That's what's coming. It's getting better and better, and I'm excited about it.
Dressage is basically you go in the arena and you execute a certain level of compulsory movements, depending on the level you're competing at. A lot of it was originated or based on the use of horses back in the military and cavalry. It comes from sort of the need to having the horse be willing and able to execute movements when you say, where you say, and that kind of thing. All the horses are really all such individuals. Number one, they have to be an athlete. For me, that has a lot to do with like when you get on them, like how spongy, like you don't want them too squishy and you don't want them too stiff. You want them like kind of right in the middle, muscle tone wise, kind of like a rubber ball. The second and equally important is the mind. Like there has to be some level of desire to do what we do because what we do is quite hard. When they're super smart, that can be really helpful. Sometimes they use that against you. Sometimes they're more simple-minded and they take a little longer to learn something, but then they really just, they're very uncomplicated. Dressage centers a lot around us really wanting the horse to use their top line to the like sort of utmost capacity. When done really well, the horse sort of like engages really well through the top line and then sort of drapes themselves down or, you know, works up to that. So in terms of the horses that we like to find for dressage, it can be mare, stallion, gelding. I love the mares, I have to say. There's a little bit extra like feistiness in them to work with, but my top horse is a gelding, so like it really has everything to do with the individual. And in terms of breeds, mostly you're going to see a lot of different types of warm bloods, Danish, Dutch, all breeds of German, some Belgian. You'll see a few Russian here and there. You also see some of the Spanish breeds, Lusitano or Andalusian. The warm bloods, the reason they're so well suited to what we do is, number one, they've been being bred specifically for it now for quite a long time. It's like years of combining sort of a colder blood horse like a draft with like a hotter blood horse like a thoroughbred. Like that's a very, basic way of putting it. And then generations and generations have been doing this. So now what's developed are these very athletic horses, like very spectacular moving just from a baseline. When you ride these horses, it's like the stuff they're put together with can have this incredible elasticity and like height off the ground in the gaits. And so when you're already starting from that place, that's like a big advantage. And now it starts to be a real requirement, like if you want to be competitive on the international stage. Exciting stuff for the future, at least for me. I think continuing for me personally to try and figure out the elite stuff all the way. We've been very close a few times and we're kind of right there, so it's like that perpetual challenge thing.
When we speak of competition in each discipline, you have elite athletes that are competing amongst other elite athletes, so they're like a professional football or professional baseball player. When we take an event like Run for a Million, you immediately jump to the Olympics. I mean, you jump to the best of the best. And so when you come in with all of the best to an event like Run for the Million, and you only get one run, it comes down to the capability of the horse, the skill of the rider, and a little bit of is just luck.
I never drove a Formula One car, but I would think if you ride a regular horse, it's like you drive your Dodge Dart. Those racing horses, they are like driving a Formula One car. This is the top of the top of the top. Anybody who ever rode a high-powered horse, it's a thrill. It's hard to describe. The Run for the Million is a racing event for the top 15 racing horses and rider in the world. I think you're gonna see the best horse-rider combinations there is at this given point on the planet. It's probably one of the biggest racing events in history. And you're running for $1 million. A lot goes in behind the scene. Your average person probably doesn't see and doesn't realize how much effort and time goes into those horses. It takes absolutely a team.
I grew up in the farm. My dad does show cattle. So I grew up in between animals and I was a horse person. And when I saw reining for the first time, I was like, oh, that's what I want to do my whole life. I can talk about reining and the horses the whole month, all day long. And now I'm working for Martin as his assistant, riding horses all day, come to the shows, help him around here, help him get them ready. They are not ours, but we treat them like if they are ours. Especially because they're athletes, performance horses. They need to be well taken care of, like kids.
When you compete, I feel like my horses try to give everything they have to give. I tell everybody if I could x-ray one thing, it would be the heart. Because if I have a little bit of soundness issues or something, most of the time my veterinarian can take care of it, but the heart is very, very important. So you do deal with an animal, it's not a machine, horses have the good and the bad days like the riders do, so you cannot mentally or physically overload the boat and ruin the horse. You need to know your horse's limits. You know, can I run up to the corner if my life depends on? Yes. Can I run a marathon? No, I'm gonna die. You just need to know where your boundaries are and stay in those boundaries.
When you're competing for $1 million, as opposed to the ring futurity, the 3-year-olds that you're competing for a couple $100,000, you know, that's a big difference. You know, so it's a pretty big event. There's not many events that you've got $1 million added to it.
I feel crazy, I feel nervous. Even if I sit in stands and I watch it, my heart's going like 1,000 miles an hour. I feel like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever in my life. I'm here, I can be here, be part of it.
Great horses are born. It's just the way it is, and I think the same with champions, you know what I mean? If you have a great horse, you know it will take you to the next level, and you just need to take care of them.
The horse is just like the human athlete, the elite athlete, in the sense that how many world records have they broken in the Olympics? I mean, every year, it's another one, it's another one, it's another one. And it isn't that we've built a superhuman athlete. It's that their training skills, their regimens that they use, the way they keep from getting injuries so that they continue to excel, just raises the bar even higher. And I think our horses are going to continually improve just like the human athletes do. Every year there's new stuff coming up. I mean, it's not like you can't just sit back and say, okay, I know it all, because you know everything, and there's more, the rest is still yet out there. So that's what got me into it. It's kept us going this long, so I guess we can't quit now.